Hello everyone, welcome to our maths lesson looking at subtracting, breaking the whole. So our learning intention is to subtract, breaking the whole. Our words of the day are once again back to making the denominators the same, because it's so important that you do that when you're adding or subtracting fractions. You need to make sure they're the same before you do them. And then we have our warm-up activity here, which is a target of 750. Using these 6 numbers: 100, 1, 4, 1, 8 and 7. So if you pause the video and see if you can reach that target, give yourselves at least a few minutes to try and achieve that and try different approaches. Right, let's have a look at my answer. Okay, so I'm going to use my pen and cross off as I go. My target is 750 and I did 8 plus 7, which is 15, 1 plus 1, which is 2, 100 multiplied by 15, which is 1,500, and then timesing that by 2, which is 3,000. Then I've divided 3,000 by 4, which is 750. So just remember there are different ways of reaching that target, so well done if you got there. Okay, so let's look at our warm-up questions. So this is saying 1 whole is worth 5 watts, 4 wholes is worth how many thirds, 6½ minus 5 twelfths equals what, and 2 minus 1/3 equals what. Remember, the denominator is the same if you're adding or subtracting fractions. So pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, so number 1 says 1 equals 5 watts, so it's 5/5, because to make a whole, the numerator and the denominator are the same. Here, how many thirds in 4 wholes? We know there's 3 thirds in 1 whole, so 4 lots of 3 is 12, so it's 12 thirds. Then we have 6½ minus 5 twelfths, which is the same as 6 and 6 twelfths minus 5 twelfths, because you need to make those denominators the same. So you times 2 by 6 to get to equal 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So then we've got 6 and 6 twelfths minus 5 twelfths. 6 minus 5 is 1. So the answer is 6 and 1/12. Then we have 2 take away 1/3, which is 1 and 2/3, because 2 take away 1/3 is saying 1/3 less than 2 wholes, which is 1 and 2/3. So well done if you got those. Okay, so let's look at our first question here. So we know we're going to have to break into these wholes here. So we've got 2 1/4 minus 5 twelfths. What's the first thing we have to do? Make the denominators the same. Okay, so this Tiny the Turtle is saying, oh, I don't think it's possible to calculate 2 1/4 minus 5 twelfths. So we have to prove if he's right or if he's wrong. Okay, so make the denominators the same. So 4 times 3 is 12. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 2 3 twelfths. Take away 5 twelfths. So how do you do that? Okay, so we've just put it here to give us a bit more space. So 2 3 twelfths minus 5 twelfths. So there we have our 2 wholes. So 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then we have our 3 twelfths. So if we take away 5 twelfths, what are we left with? Okay, so it's saying here we can partition our 5 twelfths into 3 twelfths and 2 twelfths, because 2 3 twelfths minus 3 twelfths is 2 wholes, and then you just need to take away 2 twelfths after that. So 2 3 twelfths minus 3 twelfths is 2 wholes. 2 wholes minus 2 twelfths is 1 and 10 twelfths. If I just get rid of that and show you a different way about thinking of that. So we have 2 3 twelfths minus 5 twelfths. So this is a different way you might do it. So we have 2 wholes here, and we know that 3 twelfths, you can't take 5 twelfths from 3 twelfths, so you're going to have to do what you do in norm subtraction. If you didn't have enough ones, imagine if it was 3 ones and you had to take away 5 ones, you'd go to the tens column, wouldn't you? So here we have our 3 twelfths. There's not enough to take away 5 of them, so we have to exchange from here. So we're exchanging 1 whole here into twelfths, and if we think about how many twelfths in a whole, we know that there's 12 twelfths in a whole, and 12 twelfths plus 3 twelfths is 15 twelfths. So then we have 1 and 15 twelfths. And I know this isn't what a mixed number would usually look like, but it's just middle of subtraction. And then we have it take away 5 twelfths. So then we've got 15 take away 5, and 1 take away nothing. So 1 take away nothing is 1, 15 take away 5 is 10 twelfths. Okay, this is a different way to think about it. So we've got our visualization, we've got our partitioning, so we change that into a 3, so we take 3 from 3 to just have the wholes, and then we have 2 left to take away, or we have this method which involves a bit of exchanging. So the last thing you might have noticed is that 10 and 12 are both in the 2 times table. So if you divide the top and the bottom by 2, you get 5 6. So 1 and 5 6 is the answer. Okay, this is another method for looking at this. 2 and 3 twelfths minus 5 twelfths. So here we have 2 and 3 twelfths, and then if we look at 5 twelfths, so we can either count back 5 twelfths, or we can find 5 twelfths and see what we add to 5 twelfths to get to 2 and 3 twelfths, because some of you might prefer adding to subtracting. So to get from 5 twelfths to 1 whole, it's 7 twelfths. To get from 1 whole to 2 wholes, it's 1. And then from 2 wholes to 2 and 3 twelfths, it's 3 twelfths. And then we just add these together. So it's 1 whole plus 7 twelfths plus 3 twelfths, which is 1 and 10 twelfths. We've already said you can simplify that to 1 and 5 6. Okay, so if you pause the video and have a go at these questions, remembering our words of the day, make the denominators the same. Okay, so well done for having a go at those. Let's just see if your answers are the same as mine. So 1 and 1/5 minus 7 twelfths. We need to put that into tenths. So 1/5 becomes 2 tenths, because 5 times 2 will give you the denominator of 10, which is what you want to make them equal. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So we're timesing this fraction by 2 to get to that one. So now we have 1 and 2 tenths minus 7 tenths. So if we visualize that, we've got 1 whole, split into tenths, and 2 tenths, and then we're going to take away 7 tenths. So here we're going to partition it. So I'm going to partition it into something and the 2 tenths that I'm going to take away. So I've got my 2 tenths, which I know I can take away to make it 1 whole exactly, and then whatever's left over. So if I take away my 2 tenths, and then I take away my 5 tenths, I'm left with 5 tenths, which you can see is the same as a half, because 5 is half of 10, so it's equivalent to a half. You can also divide the top and the bottom by 5 to get 1/2. So there's lots of different methods for working that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work this question out again using my exchange method. Remember, you can use whatever method you find best. So I'm just going to put it straight into tenths. So 1 and 2 tenths minus 7 tenths. You know that 2 tenths isn't big enough to take away 7 tenths. So I'm going to exchange my 1 whole for 10 tenths, because 10 tenths is the same as 1 whole. So I'm just going to put my 10 tenths in there. So I now have 12 tenths minus 7 tenths. 12 minus 7, I know, equals 5. So 5 tenths, and we can show that that is also equal to a half. Right, next one. 2 and 2/3, 2 and 2/9 take away 2/3. So let's make those denominators the same. So 2 and 2/9 minus 6/9, because to make the thirds into ninths, you multiply your whole fraction by 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 3 is 6. So we have 2 and 2/9 minus 6/9. Let's look at that on the number line. So let's plot 2 and 2/9. Let's plot 6/9 and then see how much we have to add to get there. So if we add 3/9 to 6/9, we get to a whole. If we add 1 whole to 1, we get to 2. And then if we add 2 more ninths, we get to 2 and 2/9. So if we add them all together, 3/9 plus 1 plus 2/9, we get 1 and 5/9. I'll just go through my exchanging method. I'm just going to put straight into ninths. So 2 and 2/9 minus 6/9. If we ignore that whole just for a second, you can't do 2/9 take away 6/9. So you have to exchange one of your wholes for 9/9. 9/9 plus 2/9 is 11/9. So we've got 11 ninths, take away 6 ninths, which is 5 ninths, and then we bring that whole back in. So 1 whole and 5 ninths. There's different methods to get the same thing. So once again, if you pause the video here, have a go at these questions, see if you get the same as me. Right, let's look at these. So we've got 2 and 1/7 minus 6/14, and 2 and 6/7 minus 1/14. Which calculation will break the whole? How do you know? Okay, so here, if we put them in 2/14, we've got 2 and 2/14. 1/7 is equivalent to 2/14 times the top and the bottom by 2. Take away 6/14. And over here, 2 and 6/7 minus 1/14 becomes 2 and 12/14 times the top and bottom by 2 to get the denominator the same, minus 1/14. So here you can see you've got to do 2/14, take away 6. So you're going to have to go into that whole. And here you're doing 2 wholes. And 12/14 means only 1/14. So you don't have to exchange because you can do 12 minus 1, can't you? So 2 and 2/14 minus 6/14 is going to have to break the whole. Right, so it's a great time to pause and have a go at the questions 1 to 3 on the worksheet and then come back to the video. So Dexter watches television for 3 2/5 of an hour, or 3 2/5 hours during the weekend. Dora watches 13/15 fewer than Dexter. Dora watches 1 hour of television on Saturday. For how long does Dora watch television on Sunday? Okay, so there's a few parts to that question. She watches 13/15 fewer than him, and we know she watches 1 hour on Saturday. So whatever she watches, if we take away 1 hour for the Saturday, we'll know how much she watches on the Sunday. So let's have a look at that in a number sentence and in bar model. So Dexter watches 3 2/5 of an hour. Dora watches 13/15 less. So we need to figure out what this bar is using this number sentence. So 3 2/5, take away 13/15. So we need to make the denominators the same. How do you get from 5 to 15? Multiply it by 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 2 times 3 is 6. So now we have to do 3 and 6/15 minus 13/15. So we're going to partition that. So we're going to take the 6 that we need to take it away to get 3 wholes, and then what is left over. So we've got 6/15 and then there's 7/15 left to take over. So 3 and 6/15 take away 6/15 first is 3 wholes. Then we have to do 3 take away 7/15, which is 2 and 8/15. Okay, let's look at this one just again with the exchange method, just to see if some of you prefer that one. So we have 3 and 6/15 minus 13/15. So if we ignore the 3 just for a second and we say 6/15, take away 13/15. You can't take away 13 from 6, so you're going to have to exchange from the wholes. So we're going to take one of our wholes and make it into 15. So 1 whole is 15/15 plus the 6 that we had. So 15 plus 6 is 21/15. 21 take away 13 is 8/15. So we're going to have 2 wholes and 8/15. Same answer, different method. I'm just going to erase all of this so we can see the question properly. So we know that is worth 2 hours and 18/15 of an hour. She watches that, that's her whole time at the weekend. She watches 1 hour of that on Saturday. How much does she watch on Sunday? So we're going to have to do 2 and 8/15 minus 1 whole, which is 1 and 8/15. So she watches 1 and 8/15 of an hour television on Sunday. Okay, the time difference between a fraction, so the difference between a fraction and a mixed number is 3/4. The fraction has a denominator of 12. What could the fraction and mixed number be? So something minus 3/4 equals something. So we need to find something that is 3/4 less than something else. The fraction has a denominator of 12, so we can put that into twelfths. So if we put our answer into twelfths, we have to make the denominators the same. So 3/4 is the same as 9/12, because to get from 4 to 12, you multiply by 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So it becomes 9/12. So something wholes and something twelfths minus 9/12 equals something twelfths. So if we just put some numbers in now, so 1 and something twelfths minus 9/12 equals something twelfths. So if we have 1 and 5/12 minus 9/12, it would be 8, because if you've got 1 and 5/12, you take away 5/12 first, which gives you just one whole, but you've still got to take away 4, because 9 is 5 plus 4. So one whole, which is 12/12, take away 4/12 is 8/12. Okay, I'm just going to go back there. So there's numerous options. I'm just going to talk through this sum again here with my exchange method. So 1 and 5/12 minus 9/12, and we want to work out what the answer is in twelfths. So if we just forget about that one just for a second, can you do 5 minus 9? No, you can't, because there aren't enough things, so you have to exchange. So we're going to cross out that one whole. We're working in twelfths, so 12/12 is the same as a whole. So we need to do 12/12 plus 5/12, which is 17/12, and then we just do 17/12 minus 9/12, which is 8/12. The eagle-eyed amongst you would notice that's a perfectly fine answer, because that's what they're looking for in 12. The eagle-eyed amongst you, just to practice the skill we've been working on, would notice that the 8s and the 12s are in the 4s. So if you divide the top and the bottom by 4, you get 2/3. Yeah, that's just to see if you notice that, because they did want the answer in 12. So well done if you got that. And you might have come up with some different answers. So fantastic if you did. Okay, your activity has been assigned to you on Teams, and the sheets are still on Tapestry if you prefer to print them from there. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to seeing how you get on with it. Remember, if you get stuck, to come to those live feedback sessions, or to just check back on the video to see if there's a different method that you can try that you will find more success with. Thank you again for listening.